Yeah, when we think about hallucinations, everybody is kind of generally aware at this point as to the concept of Gen AI and it giving you sometimes unreliable results. And the common kind of trope out there is that, well, it's to do with the training data and maybe it's not so good and it'll give you kind of fake news, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's good to step back and actually understand a little bit more deeply what AI and what generative AI actually is doing and what standard software is actually doing. So generative AI underneath the covers is fundamentally a predictive technology. It's giving you answers based on a massive, what's known as a training model. And those answers will by and large tend to be good answers. So a lot of weasel words here, tend to be by and large. So there's kind of this latitude for actually getting potentially slightly wrong answers. But ultimately, the whole technology is based on what's referred to as a non-deterministic approach. In simple terms, non-deterministic approaches, which are encapsulated in AI, mean that when you actually ask it to do a certain job, multiple times, it will not necessarily give you the same answer. So let's make it very simple. Deterministic software says if I have a question 1 + 1 = 2, I will reliably get that answer 1,000,000 times if I run the same algorithms, the same approach. AI, on the other hand, may not necessarily give you that answer every time. That's a very trite example, but just if you think about it, if you run that same instruction in AI, you ask it to do something, the same thing 1,000,000 times, you will not get the same answers. And that's the nature of the wonderful creative elements of AI. So this is really important, and I'm not sure if people fully get this. AI is phenomenally good at doing certain things. So for instance, summarization of text, really good at doing that. There are now almost, like it's 390,000 LLMs published on a thing called Hugging Face, which is kind of a portal that shows you large language models and AI models. These models are all really good at certain use cases, and most of them will be very good at summarization of text. They'll be very good at kind of working with pictures, et cetera, et cetera. But the key point about them is that they will not give you the same result every time. So let's consider the use cases where LLMs may not be so appropriate. I was just playing last week with LLMs, different ones, and asking them, well, how many words are in a sentence? Very simple sentence. The sentence was actually 45 words. I asked the question to Bing. It said quite confidently 35 words. I asked Bard, which is the Google LLM, and it said, look, I don't have the ability to give you a reliable answer on this, which is great because it's realizing that it's not so good at that use case. And if you ask ChatGPT, it says 45 words, not 47 words. So it's not far off, but it's not quite the exact answer. If you ask the same question again, it may give you 49 words. So this is why hallucinations are kind of endemic within both the approach to generative AI, but also it's down to the actual training model for sure that you're using as part of the LLM. So be very careful with hallucinations. Some use cases where you're doing summarization, for instance, or creative work, it's an editorial assistant. It's going to help you get a better outcome. But at the end of the day, you as a human being must check what it comes back with for accuracy and integrity.